also talked to some people around. You talked to a neighbor.
Yes.
And one neighbor said his wife heard screams coming from there?
Yes, at about 10:20 p.m. on the night of, she heard screams, and how she described it, I heard a woman calling for help. There's a neighbor on the other side of the house that repeats the same thing. Now, we have two independent people who did not converse prior to this, who went to the authorities, told them what they heard, and it was pretty much discounted. There's a lot of activity out there. You're on the ocean front, beautiful hotels all over the area. It's just a hot tourist area. No one calls 911 because there wasn't more screams. They heard the one scream, and of course it doesn't make sense to them that this may be a problem until the next day when they wake up and there's a crime scene in their backyard. These are clues that weren't followed up on or ignored.
Why would they not follow up on these?
We have an issue with law enforcement in cases like this, and it's called confirmation bias. And what happens is they take facts that they think make this look like a suicide, and they take the facts that make it look like a homicide and they ignore them. So we have confirmation bias. Here's our facts. This is why it's a suicide, but we're going to ignore all this other set of facts that have been developed by us, or evidence that we didn't examine, or brought in by third parties. And Brendan and I have been to this rodeo before with law enforcement, okay? They are very reluctant to admit they made a mistake. Now, I'm taking the sheriff at his word with you, and if he wants to do what's right, he's going to open this case up again. Because the victimology in this thing stinks. None of this makes sense.
Well, I'm convinced if you go down there and go in, not yell and scream with your hair on fire, but sit down and say, look, this is the evidence that we've discovered and we think it's the basis for it, I do believe the man will give you a fair hearing, and if not, then another avenue has to be taken. We'll be right back.
The cause of death of this millionaire's girlfriend
She shouldn't be here with us.
is challenged by her family.
This was a homicide masquerading as a suicide.
It was the family's decision to exhume the body.
She would want us to find out the truth of what happened to her, yes.
Now, in a television exclusive, the dramatic results revealed.
Is anything new found on the autopsy?
That's tomorrow.
When we began this show, we had every intention of covering it in 1 hour. But there are so many details, so many unanswered questions, so much more that I have to say to this family. Not to mention that there are new autopsy results that we need to get to. So we will continue our attempt to unravel this story, unravel this mystery tomorrow. Now, if you would like to make a donation to help the Zahau family, please go to RebeccaZahauFund.com. That's RebeccaZahauFund.com. Now, you all know, if you have experienced a loss in your life, that it's difficult. Sometimes we don't want to accept the reality that people make choices in their lives that we wouldn't always agree with. And I know as you watch today's show, you may question, as I do, is this a family that's in denial and unwilling to accept that their family member made this choice? Or is, in fact, this someone that fell the victim of serious foul play? I hope you will continue to watch as we unravel this mystery tomorrow. And if you're in this situation in your life, then our best thoughts to you. Thanks for being here so long.